Halloin! Halloin Heldrick! Halloin Enno! War das Absicht, Enno? Von wegen Hoppla? Halloin Ennolum! Halloin Heldrick! Wenn ja, weiß ich nicht. Es war Absicht, okay. Also wenn nee, dann weiß ich nicht, wie ich das dir zurückgeben kann. Aber gut, Dankeschön! Enno, mächtigsten Dank dafür. Ich muss aber sagen, Enno, ich glaube, du bist ja, glaube ich, nicht so ein Fan von Englisch? Oder war das Griffin? Ich dachte, das warst du. Aber von englischen Streams und Torment Tides of Numenera ist ein englischer Stream. Also weiß ich nicht, ob du dir dann den perfekten Tag zum Subscriben ausgesucht hast, aber morgen geht's heute ja zum Beispiel mit Resident Evil ab 19:30 Uhr. Ich will Gothic sehen. Ach so. Ja, gut. Heldrick, was das Leben? Der ist für dich. Welcome to Torment Tides of Numenera. For all the other viewers out there, we are playing in English. Sorry for the German communication at the beginning of the stream. Aber Enno ist halt Deutscher. Und dann sometimes I take the liberty to answer in German and that's totally alright. Okay. Enno, Heldrick, wollt ihr irgendwie eine Zusammenfassung, worum es in diesem Spiel geht? Oder seid ihr zufrieden mit einfach hier sein? I am can talk in English. Sehr gut. Musst du aber nicht, Enno. Du kannst auch in Deutsch schreiben, wenn du möchtest. Und ich kann auch dann in Deutsch antworten. So, here we are in the bloom. And there's the... Oh, Denglisch. Denglisch bin ich auch ein sehr big fan of. Yes, give Zusammenfassung. Okay, wir sind im Bloom. In the Bloom, we came into the Bloom by accident. We were attacked by the Sorrow, the monster that hunts us and all the other cast-offs. And in our sanctuary, in Mela West, it attacked us. But we could flee into the Bloom. We didn't know that we would get here and end up here, but we did. And this is the second screen of the Bloom, the vast interior. We began at the Memovira's courtyard. This is where we came out of. And we want to talk to the Memovira, because we think that she might be able to help us in defeating the Changing Guard, because we know now that his plan is to somehow destroy all the cast-offs that he created in order to save his own life from the Sorrow. Of course, we don't want that. We want to live. We deserve to live. And that's why we want the Memovira's help and the Bloom's help, and maybe they can help us. And in order to get to the Memovira, you can only get there by invitation. And we have to get the magmatic amulet from the Ascension, to Chiurgeon, and he can introduce us to the Memovira. And this is where we are and what we are doing here. We picked up several other quests, but I think they will kind of complete themselves while doing all the other stuff that we can do in the Bloom. Fragilities! This Fragilities, whoever you are, your name sounds like it might... there is the possibility that you are not a bot. So thank you, Fragilities, for following me. On the other hand, I've been followed by many bots so far these last few weeks, so I can't be sure that you are human. So forgive me for if I'm not as celebratory as I could be. And about these secondary quests, when we get there, I think I will just tell you what it's about before I try to summarize everything. Right. So the question that we have now, that poses itself now, is: do we get to Ioxu's workshop? You see, these bloom cultists are not a fan of Ioxu because they think you might see it, but the bloom lives. We are inside a living organism with several maws, like this one, that lead into other dimensions, places, crossroads, whatever. And this was supposed to be the way to the Ascension, where we have to go to get the magnetic amulet for Dracogen, but we didn't get there. As you see, the maw is closed. They sometimes do that. And we have talked to everyone here in this screen. And we've been into this building, for example, as well. But we haven't stepped into Ioxu. And Ioxu, yes. Ioxu, these bloom cultists, they are fans of the bloom. They think the bloom is a god and that you shouldn't anger him, or it, rather. And Ioxu, they say, does exactly that. And that's why all these pamphlets are stamped onto his workshop. What does the quest say? No. Anathema. Inkpot, the apparent leader of the bloom cultists, claims that Ioxu's research is somehow hurting the bloom. He asked me to stop Ioxu's measurements and investigations. Do we do that now and step into here? Or do we want to go there to the Chiurgeon Slump, as someone told us that there we should find someone who can help Aratus become himself again. Because as we know, Aratus is controlled by something like dualistic nanomachines, and he isn't really the hero he makes out to be. He makes himself out to be. He doesn't want to be a hero. He's forced to be a hero for their own entertainment. So, Chiurgeon Slump, where the Chiurgeon is the Numenera term for surgeons. So, do you want to get to the doctors? Filthy doctors? Or to the workshop alien thing in here? This looks very imaginative. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4. We'll get to Ioxu first. Hi, Ioxu. Oh, he seems to be overworked. And this one looks exactly like... We saw something like that in this previous screen at the Memovera's courtyard. Huh. Inside this device is a sizable lump of bloom flesh. It lies upon a comfortable-looking cushion and appears to be asleep. The top of this machine is covered in glass lenses of varying shapes. It appears to be some kind of monitoring device. This construct is equipped with innumerable monitoring devices. Lines swoop and whirl across this leathery sheet, depicting what appears to be a map. Text and symbols flash across this screen, all of it meaningless to you. Exactly like the other screen. And this one as well. On the shelves you see a few discarded notes and old books. A rack of test tubes sits alone and forgotten, overgrown with bloom flesh. This bucket is filled with quivering chunks of bloom flesh and organelles. Ugh. But it looks like a Numenera nano cipher workshop. These tanks contain floating blobs of plant or algal matter. They could serve as a basic but unpleasant food source. I think... yeah. We investigated everything that is there's to investigate here. Now, talk to the construct or Ioxu. Let's see what the construct has to say.
Go.
This one. Let's talk to the construct first. Barbs and blades cover the surface of this hulking metal construct. And scalloped skin looks like a suit of intricate armor, the joints able to bend in directions impossible for a human. Though the construct is immobile, something in its design sparks a frisson of involuntary dread within you, as if it were a predator regarding you. And it breathes a little. So I don't know if it's really immobile. The design of this construct is remarkably reminiscent to that of Waits for Prey, the construct you saw in the Memovira's courtyard. Examine the construct. Law machinery? Okay, let us do that. The construct doesn't seem to mind your prodding and poking. Indeed, it doesn't react at all. By the time you are finished, you are reasonably certain that while it maintains basic locomotive and processing functions, its mind has been utterly erased. It truly is an automaton now, lacking any sort of free will. Some of its weapons systems have also been deactivated, though its killing blades are as deadly as ever. Tell me about yourself. It continues to stare impassively ahead, ignoring your attempts to converse. If it weren't for the faint hum from within its chest, you would question whether it is even functioning. Yeah, I see the faint hum. The construct remains utterly silent. It doesn't acknowledge you at all. Why don't you speak to me? Hello! Hello! Okay, walk away. And I walked away. What's that?
All right.
Papers lie scattered haphazardly across this desk. Small knowledge cubes gleam, finger-sized implements cast processions of glowing glyphs. Another media lies scattered throughout the mess. Examine the notes and recording devices. As you reach out to examine the objects on the desk, the Vargelling barks. Careful! Much time has been invested in this work, and I recall where I placed each bit of data. Replace where you found each item. Continue to examine the contents of the desk. As you shovel through the Vargelling's notes on paper, scribbled on dried bloom flesh, dictated into talking data cubes and recorded and more exotic storage devices, you realize the sheer volume of information he has collected. It is a trove of arcane and technical observations of the bloom, loosely organized into a number of categories: behavior, self and others; communication, self and others; influences, influenced by; Morse, how to open, how to close, how to divert; history, unrecorded and recorded; observations, conclusions. Every data point leads to a reference in another document. Some of those links are simply notes guessing where the data is located based on the Vargelling's recollection. If you knew where to start analyzing his enormous collection of knowledge, you might be able to get somewhere. But the volume of information is simply staggering. A team of Aeon priests couldn't process this much data in a year. For a lone scholar, it would likely take 10 years or more. The Vargelling has stopped glancing over as you shuffle through his notes. Instead, he is staring at you, waiting and watching. It becomes difficult to concentrate under that steady gaze, so you put the notes down and step away from the table. Okie dokie. And what is that?
Yes. Now.
An odd device sits in the middle of the room. It almost looks like a capsule of some sort, but it is covered with ducts and ports and vents, and a strange blue light emanates from it. Cables run from its base throughout the room, attached to various devices. It vibrates with a mild, occasionally stuttering pulse, and when it falters, the field that protects the interior of the shanty briefly fades. Examine the device. Let's not shut it down. The machine encapsulates a piece of bloom flesh, which is wired with various leads. It appears the core is a counter-stimulus device to drive the bloom back. resonances and frequencies use the flesh of the great predator against itself, creating a kind of energy field that repels the bloom and keeps it from entering this chamber. But the constant pressure from the bloom's hunger is driving the machine toward irreversible breakdown. You do not think you can repair it. Walk away. Okay, Ioxu. What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? This Vargella looks much like others of its kind. Violet red skin, yellow eyes, a tall crest atop its head. This one appears to have chosen a male form for now. He, wears thin lenses over his eyes and some strange device encircles his head, with weighted attachments dangling at the ends of long straps. His calloused point fingertips are stained, and his garments are unkempt and in disarray. He looks impatiently at you as you interrupt his work, his eyes snapping between you and the door, his crest inflates with irritation. The interruptions continue. What would you have of Ioxu? Why do you keep looking at the door? Apologies from me. The noise and constant interruption from those outside are inconducive to proper behavior. They have been escalating their discussions towards violence.
I'll remember that.
The experiments conducted within this chamber are perhaps unlikely to gain the favor of the bloom. Indeed, the great beast has evinced some displeasure. Its pathetic worshippers who gather here to mock have begun seeking ways to stop me, an effort to appease their deity. I would reward anyone who can drive them off. But knowledge has always had its detractors. They will do what they must as long as my work lives on. I care not. He turns his head from side to side, seeing you with both his eyes. What would you have of me? Just one thing. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard I try.
On it.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Good. Do you have something? Now, what sort of work do you do here? Look, smell, taste, measure, understand. Though his voice is flat, okay, you can see the pleasure in his face. Apprehension is the key to knowledge. The bloom is a creature unlike any other, yet who has taken the time to study its nature? The first is Ioxu. The work done here will illuminate the bloom for those who follow. For decades have I been here. Physical structure, biological needs, behavior, mental construction, known history of the beast, history of its inhabitants, and all these things have I gathered. Where does it originate? I believe a twin star holds the answer, a place of howling winds and immense gravity. Fear tells me that this creature is not yet mature, that the years will see its size increase. Reality bends around the bloom. Its ways twist and turn, but even where stability is assumed, the bloom's presence resists understanding. It resists mapping. This is the importance of my work, to make secrets known so that all may benefit. Again? What is that device in the middle of the room? The bloom detests those who seek to understand it on a rational level. For some time now it has sought my destruction, to erase all accomplished here. The device generates a multi-spectrum field that repels the bloom's advances. But this means only that it waits for me without. Had other devices not been available to create food and drink, I should have perished here. Again? Okay. Tell me about that construct in the corner. Many years ago, it came to my door. It vowed service to me if its memories and personality could be erased. I did not ask why, just as I would hope to have my own reasons respected. It now serves to protect me against those who would do me harm, more specifically, the Murdens and the cultists. Again. I always ask him, those people again, because sometimes there's more to be learned. What do you think would make the Bloom cultists leave you alone? Defeating them with reasoned arguments would be difficult. I present no danger to them, not like you. A threat of force might persuade them, but I believe they tell the truth about enjoying the Bloom's favor. To oppose them is to draw its ire. Anything you'd be willing to sell me? I do not anticipate a need for these devices any longer. Perhaps they can serve you. Okay, what do you have? What do you have? A cipher. Embrace the all. Ooh, permanent concentration. Yeah, gimme. This is a beetle-like parasite about the size of your hand with a glossy green carapace. Most of the time it is inert, the only sign of life being a faint vibration. When placed on the skin, it grips the bone with its armored claws and inserts whip-like tendrils into the nervous system, probing the host's brain. This coupling permanently makes the user more mentally attuned to certain artifacts. After a short while, the creature disengages from the brain, releases a cloud of spores invisible to the naked eye, and dies. There are some scholars who believe the parasite known as Embrace the All to be intelligent. A handful of users throughout the years have claimed that while bonded with the creature, they heard a faint voice gibbering in an unknown language and saw flashes of a decaying city beneath a red sky. By and large, however, these occurrences have been dismissed as rare, hallucinatory side effects of the brain coupling. No. Okay. Bye.
These ciphers
I'm making me thirsty.
Me.
I know. You hold it. Entropic engine. Heavy ranged weapon. Booyah. I don't think I have anyone who could wield that very well. I'm sorry. Once used as a propulsion device, this has been refitted to work as a launcher weapon. Whether either of these are its original purpose, you could not guess. The barrel fires a solid ball of energy, dealing massive damage to the target. The projectile fired from this weapon uses the device's original power source, but it is also clear it is being discharged in a modified form. Opening the device, you can discern modifications made to the engine, though you could not reproduce them. How about a who? Cloak of Faces. That's okay, only usable by me. Do I have a cloak? After Chuckling Shroud, 3 resistance. I think that one is better because I don't intimidate, deceive, or persuade people. Comprised of the thin, stretched out faces of living alien beings. Okay. This cloak has a ghastly appearance. The alien faces have psychic abilities and they project subtle illusions and hallucinations into the minds of those you meet, making it easier to bend them to your will. These illusions also render the wearer more difficult to detect or target. No thank you. Heretic's Fork. I played the game with Scanned Thoughts in my first playthrough, that's why I'm not buying that, even though this sounds amazing. A nondescript piece of coarse metal that reveals the thoughts of those around you. It embeds both forks into the flesh of a user and exudes an air of knowing melancholy. A significant amount of willpower is required to maintain a mental equilibrium under its effects. Lots of stuff, lots of stuff. Ecstasy Paralyzer, light ranged weapon. Ooh, is that better than the one I have now? I don't know. I'm sorry, but I have to... I gotta pee! Pee break! See you in 90 seconds! Bye-bye! Bis gleich! Sorry! And here I am back again. Ecstasy Paralyzer. Just a short mic check. Crizzly diddly dizzle? Nee, kein Krissel, oder? Okay. 10 mental damage. Ooh, I guess this wouldn't affect automatons. The foot-long barrel of this device glows, alternating between different colors when active and has an organic feel to it. When touched, you also notice it warms up quickly and a slight vibration can be felt. Hexagonal buttons sit behind a small screen on the top, allowing you to fire a blob of energy that affects the target's mind directly, filling them with overwhelming visions of pleasure. The grip and trigger seem to have been fitted on later, made from a dull grey metal cold, with a few thick wires running from the top of the grip into the barrel. Despite the striking dissimilarity between the individual parts, the whole assembly is masterfully engineered, with a clear purpose in mind. There is considerable discussion among scholars on the exact nature of that purpose. If one is to believe persistent rumors about the Ioxu elite, it is a luxurious and highly priced toy first and foremost. Then there are the frequently surfacing cautionary tales of those who intended to use it as a weapon but failed. Lacking any self-control or restraint, these ill-fated shut themselves into ecstatic oblivion. Okay. Max 10, so max plus 20. My whisper does have max plus 12, exactly. Also max plus 20. But intellect damage, I don't know if that's good. Oh, and I only have 975 shins. Maybe I should sell some stuff. Python driver. Yeah, just along the length. Okay. What's this? Neuropraxic detonation. 20 mental damage. A chain of barbed links encircles this pulsating knot of brain tissue. When the chain is broken, the bound psyche inside screams in an overwhelming glee that tears at nearby minds. Fluid armature. 4 resistance and 4 armor. -8 initiative, that's bad. At first, this finger-length capsule seems to be made of metal. On closer inspection, it is a pellet of quicksilver contained by an unseen field. Pressing this capsule into the flesh covers a user in a protective subdermal layer that somewhat slows reaction times. Who doesn't have an... Oh, you don't have a bonded artifact. Could need some. Use some. Also don't get the bad effect because you have this one in blue. I think I want to have that. This coil of flexible azure wire unfolds along a user's body with a pleasurable moan, drawing on their body's intrinsic energy field to improve their esoteric abilities. Let's buy that. Buy the artifact. Give them the artifact.
That'll be useful.
I think so too. And these ones, I've never really used them. I think I could sell them, but on the other hand, they don't really... It's only 75 shins. This one, 211. Plus 4 damage. Let's sell Candiro. I have a flask of bloom water. Let's see what it can do. Everyone has an ornament. Yeah, let's sell this. Okay, close. Let's see. You have +1 training level in concentration. Concentration does give me that I can use 2 bonded artifacts without negative effects. Maybe should I give it to Eritus? Might be a waste. Always give it to the main character, shouldn't we? That's an old Infinity Engine rule, in my opinion. Concentration. Yeah, I would rather give my main character more initiative and not concentration, so I think I will use it myself. On the other hand, Eritus has an inability in it. But what else does he need? He doesn't need the personality skills. So I think maybe I will try to get rid of it the next time I can level him. Or give him skill, enough skill. Okay, let's be more concentrating. Use the item. Booyah. Blub blub. Oh yeah! Okay. Anything else in these inventories? Yeah, let's see what our Merecasters can do. Can we sell them or are they still active? I don't remember. I think I haven't been here. You withdraw the Merecaster and hold it before you. A sour thirst immediately overtakes you, nameless and persistent. Your hands shake, your throat is dry, drier than sun-bleached stones. The pull of the mare within this device slices like a polished, shining knife through the wretched cravings clutching at your throat. Oopsie. Whispers rise from beneath the thirst, thoughts trapped not by the device itself, but by the maze of addiction faithfully carved within the hollows of the Merecaster. One drink, one taste will help me think. Why suffer? Why shouldn't I have what I want? I want this. I deserve this. You lift one hand from the device and the thoughts fade into irritable muttering. Put it away for now. And we had another one, hadn't we? This one, right? Inspect the Merecaster. You peer through the device into a void far larger than the thing your hands could contain. From the far end, a shapeless mass reaches across the distance faster than a blink and obscures your view of it with an amorphous limb. Put both of those away. They seem pretty cool. Okay. Save that game. And talk to him again. No, I'm here for the thumbnail, so game save. Go away. Go away. You there, go away.
At last.
Okay, how long do you want to stay there? Doing this for the YouTube thumbnail. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Still game save, no. Finally. Can I deactivate the automaton? He regards you flatly with both eyes, turning his head this way and that. At last he speaks. With the Bloom's followers outside my door, the risk of transmission of this information to potentially dangerous parties and others is unacceptable. You will not have the answer. Tell me again. Yeah, I thought so. Now, let's use the mares. Use the item. The thirst of the device's former owner tugs at you. Enter the mare. The first thing you notice is the stifling heat. The dry air feels like it's sucking the life right. There are voices. Right out of you. You stand in the middle of a crowded street. An enormous blue dome towers in the distance, over crowded clay and synth steel buildings. Over crowded clay, the dome shimmers as the sunlight dances across its surface. Dark men and women jostle past you in brightly colored robes, kicking up dust clouds as they go. The dust glitters gold and silver, but it's just dust, and it's making you cough. A beggar sits at your feet, her robes far grungier than those of the crowd. This is Marajolios. The beggar is a thin, gaunt young woman. Her skin reddish-brown from what looks like constant sunburn, her hair bleached almost white, and her eyes green with bluish tints. The light reflects on a smooth, polished metal band around her throat. Coin for knowledge. She chants rhythmically in a pleasing voice, rocking gently. Coin for pity, coin for song. She sees you staring. I know you, she says. Her normal voice almost as melodious as her chanting. She points at the side of your head. I've seen that tattoo and that uniform. You're one of the lords of the endless battle, aren't you? A Castov? What business could you have with the oasis? Yeah, let's try to remember. Where am I? Your accoutrements jog your memories. His name is Rhys Folk. What a bad name. An officer of the 1st's militia. First Castov. The first Castov has followers, as well as of course, the Changer Guard has followers. And both of these, they don't like each other. They fight the endless battle somewhere on the 9th world, this planet. And so yeah, that's the militia they are talking about. A patch was torn from his uniform, suggesting he is actually a former officer. He was exiled for refusing to murder innocent Castovs at Page's orders. Page Reckon is the leader of this troop. It was cruel and not the kind of thing he wanted to be remembered for. He was shocked that Page would even suggest it. He never did get a satisfactory answer from her as to why. Several ornaments hang from your belt. A metal hand, an electronic eye, a dead power core. They're trophies. Rhys's specialty is battling constructs and automatons. These ornaments are a source of pride for him. Was exam? Yeah, let's choose the first option. Except you want me to choose something else. Then I will, but I don't think anyone's listening, so I'll just go ahead. Pause. Number 1. What a fascinating story. You know, you might be just the person I'm looking for. I desperately need help, and your particular background is ideally suited. She beckons you closer and leans into your ear. I need your help to sneak into the oasis. Why do you need to sneak? First time, Dumrajolios, I see. Yes, I have to sneak in. Oh, for a handful of shins I can play tourist for a day, and believe me, I do whenever I can. But I need to live there, to be part of their waters. But the gibbers make it difficult. They fear what blending the cultures might do, so they place heavy restrictions on who can emigrate. They patrol the borders and monitor the airskin bracelets sold in Jerboa. You must have connections or money for them to let you in. I have neither. However, if you can avoid their patrols and breathe without a bracelet, as I can, then it is possible. I have a gibber friend who says it's more trouble than it's worth for them to seek out every illegal air breather who slips through their net. It's only the net that is the problem. Why so badly? She sits back, folding her hands into her lap. You want a story? No, of course you don't. Here's the short, bittersweet version then. You see this? She touches the metal band around her throat. I acquired it some time ago when I used to live in Sargus Cliffs. I can't say what compelled me to wear it, but I did. And it gave me the most beautiful singing voice and, as an odd bonus, the ability to breathe water. I began to go by the name Tidesinger. Nice name. But what blessing is without its curse? She looks wistfully in the direction of the blue dome. Mine is an overwhelming urge to immerse myself in water. I need it. I ache for it. She squeezes her fists until her knuckles become white. She lets go in sighs. I came here hoping to move into the oasis, but their immigration laws are quite strict. I sing for money here in Jerboa, spending a day in Mrajolios whenever I have enough scraped together. But it's not enough. I need more. What's in it for me? It sounds dangerous. I thought you'd never ask. She sidles closer to you. You were kicked out of the endless battle, yes? On the first sight, if I'm not mistaken. You'd be amazed, because she smiles at our surprise. You'd be amazed what you hear even on the streets of Jerboa. I know a thing or two, including something very interesting about your militia that's worth the risk. She sits back and gestures at your tattered uniform. Besides, what have you got to lose? You have a plan, then? She pats the ground next to her and waits until you're sitting down. The two groups are our way in. The gibber guards will let anyone pass with a guide. Of course, the problem is that the guides stick to you like... She searches for the right metaphor, then lets a handful of sand sift through her fingers. Well, like dust. Except at the menagerie. She raises her finger. It's like an underwater museum, but it's so crowded that the guides simply hang out at the entrance. So we enter Mrajolios with a group, then slip away and hide ourselves in the menagerie until nightfall. A shadow crosses her face. This is the tricky part. The menagerie is guarded by a demon, an automaton from a prior world. She playfully flicks a construct's eye hanging from your jacket. But I suspect you know a thing or two about dealing with those, don't you? With your skills, we should be able to sneak past it no problem. Alright, I'll help you. Her face lights up as bright as her song from before. Thank you. Thank you. For a man of your skills, this will be easy, I promise. Get what you need. I'll meet you at the gates in an hour. Then she gets up and practically floats away. Hey, welcome back! Enolom. If you... The thing I want to do here with my playthrough through Torment Tides of Numenera is that you can decide what I should choose if there are any options here. So, when there are several things we could do, several decisions to make, several choices. Ach so, ja okay, dann hey again. Aber wenn hier mehrere Optionen sind und irgendwas nicht ganz klar ist, dann kannst du sagen, was wir machen sollten. Wenn du darauf Bock hast. Wenn nicht, dann nicht, dann spiel einfach, so wie ich es finde. Finding the gates of the oasis is simple. All roads radiate from the dome like a hub. The air is cool and fresh near the bubble. This close, the waters appear to rise perfectly vertically. You strain your neck trying to see where they disappear. An energy net shimmers just inside the waters, open only at a single point where several Gibra armed with barbed, glowing spears scrutinize every air breather who tries to enter. The Gibra are the gibbers she was talking about. Those with bracelets and tour guides are allowed to pass. The rest are turned away. Neme suddenly slaps an airskin bracelet on your wrist. You feel a slight tingle, but nothing more. She points to a group of Jerboans next to a smiling Gibra. Ready? Let's go. Stepping into the oasis is surprising. There's no shield or force holding the waters. You walk into them like you might walk into the sea. Once inside, the tour guide takes you all over the massive city, through the sunken market and underwater park, the government square. Neme was right. She doesn't let you out of her sight once. Finally, you arrive at the menagerie. It's just as crowded as Neme said it would be, filled with creatures and curios, as though it can't decide whether it's a museum or a zoo. It's almost overwhelming, and you don't know what to look at first. Remember, Neme says, her hands gently holding your arm, why we are here. Okay. Hey, Enno! Prost! Dankeschön! Wasser! Wasser ist Leben. Nicht zu wenig trinken, folks. Don't drink. Always drink enough. And death or and eat? Was wolltest du schreiben, Enno? Achso, Wasser ist Leben und Tod. Ja, richtig. Das stimmt. Well. Wieso nicht alles? Why shouldn't we do everything? Watch the crowd of tourists. Scores of tourists meander through the menagerie's corridors. The vast majority of them are human, but there are several Gibra and other water-breathing races as well. A soft current seems to carry them from one exhibit to the next. You can feel the pull of the current yourself, though it's trivial to resist it. One tourist hovers to one side, dressed in colorful robes and seemingly more interested in the tourists themselves. His gaze moves back and forth across the crowds, but never on any of the exhibits themselves. Of course, he's simply doing what you are. But what is his reason for observing? Seeing the robed tourist, you scrutinize the other tourists even more carefully, wondering if any others are observing you more than just the exhibits. The robed figure appears to be the only one, but you notice something else. None of the tourists, not even the robed figure, are looking up. Even the Gibra treat the menagerie as though it were filled with air, and their occupants restrained by gravity. Looking up yourself, you notice a shadowed crevice high above, hidden behind stone structural supports. It looks just big enough for two people to hide in, if you could get there without being noticed. Examine the amulet, why not? It is an amulet made of several concentric circles. A thick cord is attached to the outer circle, although it does not appear to pass through the other rings. The circles are just hovering in the center of each other. A plaque on the pedestal says it is called the Talisman of Scourgil. Myth says it belonged to the legendary Baji, believed a prophet of Nyquil by the Gibra and a deity by some Jerboans. Its true origins are unknown, but it has belonged to the Giash, the ruling council of the Oasis, for several centuries. I think Baji is the character in another novella of this game. You recognize the talisman as the strange artifact from that first memory deep within your mind. The changing god once needed it for something, perhaps to complete the resonance chamber itself. A lot of that seems irrelevant now. What are these dangerous-looking water creatures? The plague calls them Lurubs. They are nearly twice as long as a man is tall, with two front flippers and a narrow tooth-filled mouth. They hum an odd, dissonant tune to each other as they swim by. Neme seems entranced by it. There must be some invisible field between you and them, because they stay back from the onlookers. There is a pocket of air about 2 meters above your head. A few tourists floating there are tossing in treats they have purchased, which the low ribs snap up greedily. Okay, so a petting zoo, a little. The habitat resembles rocky shoals with several holes and hollows for the loribs to hide in. The field that separates the loribs from the tourists must not extend to the air pocket above, because the tourists are reaching right through to toss in their treats. It would be a simple thing to jump in when nobody's looking, but of course, then the loribs would likely tear you to shreds. Better go above. Imprisoned fire creatures, okay. These creatures are kept in a cell of air. The ground is black like obsidian, with glowing red nodules here and there. The air in their cells shimmers like a summer day, though you can feel no warmth from where you are. The plague says these creatures are commonly called fire wights or flame souls, though they are made of neither fire nor spirit. The Aeon priests call them nakars. The creatures feed on water and the life force of living creatures, says the plague. In their natural habitat, they can control and shape magma into impossible architectures. They see temperatures, not light, and so the tourists are nearly invisible to them. Ah, despite what the plague says, you are certain they are watching you. The construct near the door. The construct's armor is pitted and scarred, bursting with metal thorns on all sides. Instead of arms, it has long killing blades sharpened to a gleaming edge. Is it the same construct that, like, waits for prey? It appears to be inactive, completely oblivious to you or anything in the menagerie. A feeling of intense loathing rises unbidden as you look upon it. These are not your feelings, you realize, but a visceral response of the person whose body you're in. Should we talk to the rope figure or not? If the observer is observing, he has observed that we are observing. So, what would be the harm to talk to him now? On the other hand, we would make ourselves known. We would. Let's talk to the rope figure. This tall, thin man appears to have glowing runes orbiting his head. He wears dark, finely embroidered robes and a short cape, primarily made up of blues and purples. He seems intent, though you can't quite discern about what. When you gain his attention, it feels almost as if he is mentally cataloging the details of your appearance. He glances at Neme behind you. The beggar and the cast-off. What is it you would ask of this one? Why are you watching the tourists? Our answer is the same as yours, Seeker. You wish to free yourselves from those who watch. He glances at the doorway where the Gibra tour guides talk amongst themselves while the tourists enjoy the menagerie. This one is Dusk Watcher Yarmid. An eye of the Brotherhood of the Chronicle, it is our purpose to witness and record pivotal events in history. We believe one such event is soon to occur, but alas, this one fears the event will be missed. The curators of this place are ever watchful. What event are you waiting to witness? We cannot speak of the event itself. This one's purpose is to observe only, not to alter. Suffice to say, it is tragic, or will likely be so. However it plays out, its effects will ripple throughout history. This one must observe, yet the window of opportunity is closing. He shuts his eyes, creating new wrinkles on his face. He opens them suddenly, looking directly at you. You seek to hide yourselves until nightfall. This one seeks the same. This one knows of a way we can hide together with little risk. In exchange for this information and your willingness to hide with this one, the Brotherhood permits this one to answer a single question. Nee. Heute Dienstag Numenera. Morgen Resident Evil. Kitty Cat, miau miau. Why would I want you to answer a question? The records of the Brotherhood are extensive. We are capable of answering any question within our records and are even able to predict the course of events over the short term. The answers of the Brotherhood can be of great value. Tell me about the Brotherhood. This one has already explained but will attempt to expound. It is our purpose to witness and record pivotal events as they occur. This one is an eye and a dusk watcher, tasked with observing tragic events or individuals with darker inclinations. The eye will observe, then relay information through the brain to the hands for the transcription into the Brotherhood's records. How do you know us? History and observance teach us many things. She, he nods at Neme, is a beggar who has told Marjolius at least 87 times in less than 2 years. You are a discarded shell of the one who calls himself the Changing God. You are known through your brand. She is known through her habits. It is the same. He shuts his eyes for a moment as if deep in thought. When he opens them again, he says, "Yes, we can also guess at your purpose." Neme, whose fear has grown more obvious with each word the man spoke, hisses. "Who have you told? Why are you doing this?" The man looks down at her, and his intense look softening only slightly. "You have nothing to fear from this one. Your secrets are safe. Indeed, our paths may even converge. We shall see." Ah! You mean here, Anilum? Let's work together if you can answer one question for me. Okie dokie. What is your question? Okay, so ein bisschen Info für dich. The Sorrow ist das, was uns, also das ist ja quasi eine Erinnerung, die wir nachspielen von jemand anderem, der auch ein Cast-Off ist. Die Sorrow ist das Ding, was uns jagt die ganze Zeit. Und alle anderen Cast-Offs auch. Succeed Tonight ist halt das in dieser Mission, die wir hier gerade machen. Und das Endless Battle ist ja dieser Kampf zwischen den beiden Fraktionen von den Leuten, die der ersten Cast-Off folgen und dem Changing Guard, von dem alle Cast-Offs abstammen. Wo ist the first Cast-Off? Ist vielleicht ganz interessant. Was will er hier genau angucken? Ob Neme in der Oasis bleiben kann? Okay. 8. Farewell for now. Okay. So, no question. We want to ask him. Nein! Sondern? 4. Where is the first cast-off? Yeah, it's a good question, Anilum. He shuts his eyes in deep thought, then says, "Her name is Maraleo, the one who is thought to be both first and past." What? Her name is Maraleo, the one who is thought to be both first and past. Neither are true. She has faked her own death in order to hide from your sire. Even the Changing God does not realize she is alive, and she intends to keep it that way until it is too late. He opens his eyes again. We regret that her current location is unknown to us. It is our hope that the information provided is sufficient. This one can also aid you with your current task. He points his chin at the tank of the dangerous-looking creatures. The Lorub's cell is large, with several places for all of us to hide until nightfall. Unfortunately, the Lorubs themselves would destroy any air breather foolish enough to step into their habitat. He nods at Neme. You have a gift, however. Your Numenera enables you to match any pitch and timbre. Listen to the Lorubs. You will find that emulating their song is enough for them to leave you alone. If you hide in there, this one will see and find a way to join you. He brings his hand up to his face, making a strange gesture with his fingers. And this one is grateful for any assistance you choose to provide. Okay. Nothing new. Okay. Farewell for now. I am watching, Seeker. If you follow my advice, I will join you. Okay. He wants us to hide with the Lorubs. Some creatures that might kill us, but as long as Neme sings her song, nothing should happen. We could find another hiding place, or, in my opinion, which sounds like a good idea, the best idea maybe even, just to swim upside and hide in the shadowed crevice above. I'm glad we agree, Enelum. You point out the crevice to Neme and she nods, understanding your intent. Wait here, she says. She swims away to a back corridor. You can no longer see her, but in a few moments a slow melody of seraphic tones floats through the water back to you. The tourists' ears perk up and soon all of them are either looking for the sound or have swum off after it. Immediately, you shove off the floor and tuck yourself away in the crevice. Neme finishes her song and thanks her onlookers. She wanders the menagerie for another 2 or 3 hours before she finds an opportunity to swim up unnoticed herself. Then it's just a matter of waiting for nightfall. Hours pass. Tourists and tour guides leave one by one. The guides don't seem to keep track of who they brought, acting only as chaperones for tourists who wish to return. The remainder are accompanied out at sunset. The menagerie is dark and empty. Sunlight that had been filtering in from translucent rocks in the ceiling is now gone. Only a few fish and rocks still light the gloom. Ha 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 ha! You emerge from your hiding place, moving as quietly as possible. But as soon as you reach the main corridor, a metallic voice carries from the direction of the front entrance. Did you think I would not see, would not know? You will die here tonight. Metallic voice? That wasn't a metallic voice. Did you think I would not see, would not know? You will die here tonight. You see the demon around the corner, a construct bristling with spikes and blades. It doesn't seem to have seen you yet, but it knows you are here and it is blocking the exit. You have a beam lance bracer on your forearm, but you suddenly wonder if that will be enough. Blind the demon. I don't know if it has eyes. I mean, it's a machine, so maybe this wouldn't work. I don't think that will be enough. It looks like it can take a punch or two. Try to disable the demon with your sword. Ah. Try to run past it. Run? We're swimming. But now, I know you're serious. You mean we should try to run past it? Enno, hast du es mitbekommen? Meine kurze Frage. Du meinst, jetzt sollten wir wirklich versuchen, dran vorbeizurennen? Oder war das die 4 noch vor dem anderen? Okay. Alright, let's try. Make a run for it! You fire your lance to its left to drive it away. It works. The demon avoids the blast, leaving a gap between you and the exit. You swim for it, but the demon appears in front of you with metallic laughter. Before you can react, the demon fires a blast of energy that causes the water surrounding you to burn like fire. You scream in agony. When your vision returns, Neme is still next to you, breathing heavily within her airskin bracelet. It doesn't look like she could take another hit like that. Even you could only survive a short while longer. Okay, ranged weapon? Yeah. I think the same, Enno. Oof. Ah, are we bad at that? Ah, haha. 100%. Let's give it 100%. Booyah. You aim the beam lens at its head, focusing on the vulnerable optic nerves. You exhale, and squeeze your fist, triggering the beam. It strikes the demon directly in the face. The demon's head snaps backwards. When it returns, the face is charred, the eyes dim. Do you think I need to see to kill you? Come here! Shit! Melee weapons? Oh, that's... Oh, we could do two. Attack the demon with the beam lance. Do we have another shot with the beam lance? No. Or we could run again. Two? Okay. Let's do it, let's do it! 100%! Although we have never learned how to take down an automaton, you find this body knows easily what to do. You get closer to the demon, feinting an attack to its head. When it blocks this critical spot, you bring your blade back against its side, slicing through critical wires and actuators. The demon makes a guttural noise, possibly a curse. Its body jerks and shivers against its will. It's not dead, but it will have trouble retaliating now. Attack the demon with the beam lance! You take aim and blast it in the shoulder. It reels back, sparks and debris flying from it in all directions, then hovering in the water around it. It's wounded, but not enough to slow it down. The demon zips through the water toward you, blades extended, but without its optic centers, it's easy for you to get out of its way. Try to run past it again! You shout and strike your blade against the stone wall. The demon takes the bait, moving in the directions of the noise, but you're no longer there. You've already slipped past it and out into the night. The demon either doesn't realize it or chooses not to follow. Either way, you're free. Stars and the full moon shimmer above you from outside the dome of the oasis. Shadowy mountains rise in the far distance at the edge of the valley. Below you, the rest of Marajolios is black expanse. Nemes snaps off her bracelet and breathes deep of the waters. Thank you, she says, her voice even clearer now without the airskin. She puts a hand on your cheek and whispers. I owe you more. I owe you. More than you know. It's not much, but I know something that might help you. Your commander Pajrekin is not what she appears. There's someone else pulling the strings above her. Okay. But that's the first time I hear that. Because the first time I played through this game, I think I died in my fight against this automaton. She shrugs, embarrassed. That's all I have to give you. I'm sorry. Maybe you can use it somehow. She darts forward and kisses you on the cheek. Then she swims off into the inky black. You make your own way down to the surface. As you do, you notice two shadowy figures flying through the water above you. The moon's reflection shines on them for a brief moment, and you catch a glimpse of two cast-off tattoos and an artificial eye. Mazov? The figures disappear into the menagerie. Mazov is the one that told us that the first cast-off is still alive. In a different mare. Okay. Any thoughts of following them are quickly snuffed out as something tugs painfully at your gut. Within seconds, Marajolios fades away for good. Vzoom. Okay, that was that. I feel... Or is it a bug? It sounds... The sound is so loud.
Let's go.
Sometimes, I think. Or is it just me? Oh, that's okay, that's okay. 75%, Torment, okay. Okay, at least a little. Okay, so can we use this Merecaster again? I don't think so. Vroom. Okay, so we can sell that one. Ioxu, I've got something for you. You can have that, the Azure Steel Merecaster. You're welcome. Now, the next mare. We have two. We have another one. Ah! Wanted to click. Accidents. Accidents happen. Okay. Quest item there. Another quest item. Where was the other Merecaster? There it is. Use the item. Enter the mare. Oof. Oh, it's a whale with a city on top of it. Okay. Indigo waves rise in the wake of the huge marteling whale bearing down on Sargus cliffs. Its flank blocks out the sun, its shadow sweeps over your meager dhow and a whole swath of sea. From high up on the beast's back, a lookout leans down. Plague! He cries, in a voice that seems too faint. Oh, even considering the distance. Plague! His warning is unnecessary. The yellow jack flag flapping from the mast can be seen all the way from the city. As the lookout stares directly at your dhow, he cocks his head quizzically and rubs his eyes, plainly confused to see no one in the boat. The light bender on your belt does its work well, while its charge lasts. After a moment, the man wanders off. So okay, so we are invisible and try to infiltrate this thing. And I guess the yellow jack flags signify plague. Something sick up there. Snug around your neck, a steel collar trembles and a voice whispers in your head. Hurry, our seaward batteries can turn the whale to mist if they must, but better to save our fire for a darker day. After a moment, the collar buzzes again and the voice adds. Eliminating contagion is doctor's work, and no doctor would use a saw when a scalpel will do. Go now, cut what you must and make sure that this sickness does not reach our city. And don't worry, your body can't fall prey to their disease. The collar goes still. The whale's leathery side looms above you like a living cliff. Somewhere up, there are the men and women carrying death toward your home. Let's gather any gear in the dhow. The tools of your trade are housed in a locker beneath the thwart. Hooked climbing claws, your wind-sliced blade and a concussive crystal pulsing with explosive power. You quickly secure them. Claws on your hands, sword at your side, crystal on your belt. Remaining in the locker is a small, waterproof ledger, which is better left there. There is also a harpoon of azure steel sunk deep in the whale's flesh and tied to the dhow by a sturdy cable. It would be hard to pull free, and in any case, it will keep your boat tied to the beast. Read the ledger. Was steht da drin? Judging it too long to read in its entirety, you open to a page at random. In a meticulous hand, there is a date, and below it, 3. For the greater good. You flip to another page and it is similarly no more than a date and a short entry. 1. For the greater good. 1. Of necessity. As you skim, only the dates and numbers change. Finde ich auch. As you skim, any contemplation is cut short by a shudder from your collar and a sharp voice in your mind. Do not tarry. Okay, anything else? There's nothing, and the collar around your neck is buzzing insistently, though wordlessly. Okay, use the climbing claws to scale the whale's side. You sink the climbing claws into the whale's tough hide and, leaving a bloody trail behind you, quickly climb your way up. As you ascend, the steady lapping of waves fades and the wind grows, but there comes no sound of the living or dying village built upon the marteling's back. Finally, you crest the whale's flank and pull yourself over the top. Silence, like a miasma. hangs over the empty driftwood shacks. Bits of bone, sheets of synth, crude abandoned tools. These are the only signs that people once thrived in this unusual home. The lookout has left no tracks, and in the moments you spent scanning the narrow, trash-strewn street, no one else emerges. Beyond this bleak emptiness, two things rise. Nearby, a kind of pavilion or howdah built atop the whale's head, and in the distance, I guess that's left side, and in the distance of the picture, a huge stone castle at the whale's rear. That's the howdah. That's the stern castle, whatever. A beam of light streams from the stern castle to the howdah, encasing the latter in an iridescent bubble. Some sort of shield. By the look of it, there's nothing else of note. It looks like from the castle to the howdah. So this is where we could disable the shield, and this is where the shield is. So we should get to the back of the whale, to the stern castle first. Or we could climb one of the shacks to see more. Yeah, let's do that. You clamber atop a rickety roof, mindful to spread your weight evenly across the pock-marked synth. Even still, it flexes ominously beneath you. From on high, most of what you see is the same. A warren of winding, empty streets flanked by filthy hovels, all silent and lifeless. But then, a flicker of motion catches your eye, half hidden behind a mound of garbage. A small crowd seems to have circled a woman. You cannot make out exactly what transpires, but you can plot a path through the village to reach the crowd, or to avoid it en route to the stern castle. I don't think we should go to the crowd. Our mission is to, well, get them away from the city. So, head for the stern castle. Following the map in your mind, you wend your way down the narrow village lanes. Silence, stench, and squalor are your only companions. At last you arrive at the stern castle, a towering edifice of steel and stone. That is a seat of power. That it is a seat of power would be clear even without the ribbon of energy streaming from its tower toward the distant howdah. A large mob has gathered on the stern castle steps, and many of the men and women mutely pound upon the gates. Their silence and the flatness of their effect is striking. As you watch their ineffectual siege, more file in behind you, blindly forcing you forward, cutting off any means of retreat. For now, thanks to the Lightbender, they have not seen you. Oh, right, we're invisible. Thanks for reminding us. Okay. Call out to the mob. I think, well, I mean, couldn't they see us then, maybe? Clear out the mob and open the gates with a concussive crystal. Clear out the mob, meaning killing them? I don't know. I think when we get into the stern castle and deactivate the beam, the mob will follow. I say 1. You are well up the stern castle's wall before the Lightbender's power peters out, and by then you are far from the mob's reach. Indeed, you seem far from their care as they are content to continue pounding away at the gates. The climb is an easier one than your last. Even without the claws, you would find easy fingerholds in the weather-worn mortar and rough stone. Above you shimmers the beam of energy fueling the howdah's distant force field. Soon, you have reached an open window, and without hesitation, you swing your way inside, landing deftly in a great hall. The stern castle's defenders are a few dozen men and women armed with little more than spears and marlin spikes. One of them has a few healing ciphers. Another wears a richly dyed robe adorned with glitter gar scales. No doubt she is their leader. The hall holds little else of interest, save a large Numenera that streams energy out through a window, feeding the force field at the whale's head. The defender's leader addresses you, her voice oddly accented. Welcome to Folkhaven, emissary. I speak for the folk. We must dock in your city. We are in desperate need of healing, as you saw when you faced the unspeakables. We beg your aid in these dark days. Unspeakables is a Harry Potter term, but I don't think they mean them. I want to help you, but go away or we'll destroy you. Four. Who are you? Who are these unspeakables? I hope we can ask these questions later, but I think it's clear. These ones are sick and the unspeakables are the zombies they become when they get even worse? I think so. So, I want to help your people. Normally I would choose 1 and 2 until I have all the information, but I fear that we are on a time limit here, and that's why I don't want to risk it. I want to help your people, but you must turn away from Sargus Cliffs. The speaker is, for a moment, speechless. The defender's eyes are all turned upon her, and a look of horror and nausea blanches her face. Then, with visible effort, she composes herself. You have spoken and I have heard. She lowers herself to her knees. But I again implore you and your far-famed city to aid us in our hour of need. The lives of the folk and the fate of the haven turn upon your word. The hall falls silent, awaiting your reply. Two. I must think of both my city and your village. I will do what I can to help you, short of endangering my own people. The speaker pushes herself to her feet and brushes off her knees. I do not fault those who speak for your city. We have done the same here to safeguard the uninfected within these walls. But we cannot change course from here. She points to the window through which the Numenera sends its energy. The whale singer guides the wave from upon its head, and he must be shielded against the plague. Were he to lose his voice, there would be no song to steer us. A grim, false smile cuts her face. But there is a way. You see, a gift has come to us, a means by which the healer can concoct an inoculation against the quiet death. It comes at a price, and your city will make us pay. She points to a boy huddled nearby and calls him over. The gift. The only one to fall sick and silent, yet fend off madness. She strokes his hair. From the fluid in his spine, the healer will decant a guard against the death. She gestures for him to sit. Not a cure, and enough for at most 20 inoculations. You count more than that in the hall. From 20, the folk can grow again, as you did after the sinking. She smiles at the boy. The gift will not refuse or cry out. He will endure his death in silence. She takes your hand. We will lower the shield, and you will bring an inoculation to the whale singer. The whale will turn, and we will survive. Okay, I think it's about numbers at this point. And I think there, you remember maybe the tides here in Torment Tides of Numenera, and they're different colors. And the color purple, which this looks a little like, some would call it, I don't know, magenta, I have no idea. But purple means for the greater good. And I think this is what we have to decide here. And I think to kill one... But this is a good one. They could start again with their only immune child. And if they kill that, they have nothing left. What if the procedure fails? The speaker shakes her head. We are not fools, stranger, and long have we pondered our few choices. Even if the gift survives, the folk shall die, for he cannot speak the word and keep our ways alive. She nods to the Chiurgeon, and the healer knows his craft and his tools. He has said, this will not fail, and I speak his words again with confidence. Okay, kill the boy. She spoke the truth. When the boy is broken upon the Chiurgeon's bench, when the ciphers bore into his back, he makes not a noise. From his life, 23 will be saved, each with an amber promise swirling in a strong glass vial. The healer hands one to you, along with a cipher that will inject it into the whale singer. The speaker gives you a flag, half yellow, half blue. Wave it when you reach the shield. We will open a way, and the singer will know you for a friend. With that, the folk speak a word of blessing and lead you to a tunnel, dug through whale flesh, that will give you a clear start. Your path will not be easy. The village is overrun, but it is the only way. And so you go. The collar around your neck hums and a voice warns. Make haste. The whale has entered the bay. You heed its command. As you weave through the narrow paths and alleys, faint sounds stir in the silence, the shuffle of footsteps, the huffing of heavy breaths. With a watchful eye and quiet tread, you advance, keeping out of sight as best as you can. Soon, they are before you, a gang of unspeakables at least a dozen strong, making their starving, reaving way through the village and unknowingly barring your advance. You are not here to cleanse the haven, sneak past them. Dispose of them with the concussive crystal. If we did that, concussive crystal sounds like it would make noise. Quite a lot of noise. And more of them would come, which is a bad idea. So, sneak past them. The same hovels that make a maze of the folk haven provide endless cover for the adept. Slipping through doors, slinking through alleys, and leaping from roof to roof, you evade the unspeakables and make your way, at last, to the Howdah! You reach the top of the whale's head and stand before the shimmering force field that shields the Howdah. A wave of the blue and yellow flag brings it down. Within the pavilion stands a stocky man, barrel-chested and ruddy. The whale singer. He seems pleasantly surprised to see you. Behind him, wide-mouthed tubes rise up from the whale's hide, and past them is the flat expanse of the whale's brow. Not so far beyond are the cliffs, the cannons, and the city. The whale singer's voice booms when he speaks, his words accented like the speaker's. I do not know you, stranger, but you have braved the unspeakables and come bearing the speaker's blessing. I await your words. How do you steer the whale? The whale singer waves a hand at the trumpet-like bronze tubes rising from the creature's hide. When I sing, the cell pinches bear my song into her very brain, stirring the nerves within as if my voice were her own. What I sing, she must do. He kneels and places a hand on the huge head beneath him. It is a duty and an honor to join the Great One's mind. I soothe her loneliness and hold her back when the males roar their lust through the seas. Thus have I, and the many singers before me, kept Folk Haven from sinking below the waves. Okay, given the inoculation. You quickly explain what the healer has given you and hand the inoculation to the whale singer. He presses the needle through his skin, blending the serum with his blood. There's no change or wonderment worked by the injection. No acid No esotery lies behind this treatment, merely a child's life. All the same, the whale singer nods and thanks you. You have safeguarded my song, and thus the haven. Turn the whale before it is destroyed. With a gesture to the cannons bristling on the not-so-distant cliffs, you warn the singer of what will come if the whale is not turned. Trusting in the speaker's flag and the clear truth of your words, he gives a quick nod and turns to the tubes rising from the wave flash. It is an uncanny song he sings, inhuman and at the same time heart-achingly intimate. At once the whale begins to turn, heaving its huge bulk away from the city and back to the open seas. And then the song ends, and the whale singer takes a long swig from a flask chained to his belt. It is done. Seconds later, the collar around your neck flickers and a voice whispers to you alone. Do not let it turn back. Ah, okay. Back to Sargus Cliffs, okay. Tell me more about the whale. The whale singer shakes his head. Each whale singer teaches his craft to a song student, who will in turn live to become singer himself. A sadness steals over his face. Though the student is gone, you are not one of the folk and cannot take his place. More about the whale? He merely shakes his head. More about the whale. Okay. We will not kill him. Otherwise they lose their home. Until the whale crashes into some island. Or an iceberg. Return to your dhow. You race down the whale's head and leap into your dhow. With a swift slash, you cut the harpoon loose. Moments later, the whale is already dwindling into the distance. Whatever fate awaits the folk and the unspeakables, it will be resolved at sea, far from the city you were sent to protect. As you slip from its shadow, the indigo waves turn to azure. Your collar trembles, and the voice returns. You should have cut deeper. Then, silence. The wind bears you back toward home. You do not bother to watch the vanishing whale with a dying village on its back, for ahead of you grows the city of Sargus Cliffs, its buildings, then its people coming slowly into view. They are safe. For now. Phew, okay. Let's sell the Merecasters. Ioxu, I have some. It's this one. Yeah. Bye-bye. The other stuff. Why do I still have the crossbow? Way worse than this thing. Ah, but it has long range. Ah, fuck it. Crossbow. Gone. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Ioxu. Now, let's get outside. Get outside. Get outside. I know it's not the correct lyrics. Inkpot, I will not kill Ioxu. Inkpot looks up from his scribbling, his crooked mouth shaping itself into the mockery of a smile. We await your intercession with Ioxu, but our god is in pain, so we will not wait forever. If the bloom really is a god, why does it need human help at all? He frowns, confused. The need is plain. Can you look upon the swollen flesh of that house and tell me that a poison doesn't fester inside? Did the bloom ask for your help? His mouth quivers. It spoke to me of its need. I heard its voice in my mind. He said voice, not voices. Those who can really hear the bloom speak of many voices. You're a fraud. You have no idea what the bloom wants. So your guard is too weak and impotent to deal with it. I like the first two. Oh, echt? Ich weiß gar nicht genau, welche Sounds du meinst. Weil meistens ist es ja nur Musik. Aber an sich war in letzter Zeit viel rumgesounde. Ja. Vor allem bei diesen Merecaster-Stories. What do you think, Enulum? How should we intimidate him? 1 or 2? I think I like 2. I'll take 2. Ah, okay. Apropos Angst, das ist mit meinem Lieblings-Soundtrack von dem Spiel, weil er so gefährlich klingt. Okay, let's take 2. And when it's about intimidation, I thought Elegant was intimidating. Or was it? Oh, but it's an intellect. Okay. Let's 100%. We have enough intellect in our pool.
I'll remember that.
No, I would never. The Devourer will surely break through his defenses on its own. He licks his lips, glancing at his followers out of the corners of his eyes. Perhaps you're right. Give it time, sweet time, for Ioxu's defenses to crumble. Then the bloom will dissolve him bit by bit. A more satisfying end than brute violence, yes. He nods, his decision made. We will watch and wait, and I shall record his end in scripture when it comes. Farewell. Watch and wait. I don't think Ioxu is content with that. Ioxu. Brother. Don't you want them gone? You disturb me again. What great matter calls for your interruption? The Bloom cultists will leave you alone.
Ready to learn something new.
Doubts arise within. His left eye goggles at you momentarily. Extraordinary claims demand proof. He steps to the door and peers outside. He waits for a moment, closes the door, and turns back to you. They had regarded this home and Ioxu, but their clamor ended. Tight smiles color their faces, but no longer do they hurl imprecations. My gratitude, I believe, is in order. Except this. Let no debts stand. He presses something small into your hands. Encephalon of subjugating revivication. Okay. Oh, necromancy. Nice. This undulating mass of metallic tendrils resembles nothing so much as a sea flower sculpted from woven steel. Parting the wriggling metal ropes reveals the nucleus, a knotted metallic brain whose every fissure pulses with faint green light. When placed in close proximity to any intact corpse, the object's okay, so there must be a corpse. The object's tendrils will burrow deep into the recesses of the dead being's body. Within moments, the encephalon will be completely subsumed into the host, who will arise a mindless thrall, awaiting purpose. Nice. Now about your bodyguard? Your service and protection against the Bloom's worshippers calls for an exchange of knowledge. Better still, bide. He steps over to his workbench and his hands disappear in a blur of movement. Take this. He presses a long, thin strip of metal into your hand, inlaid with tiny circuits and emitting a light that makes your eyes hurt. As it sits on your palm, the inks burn into your skin and the metal dissolves. Very nut. The function of the device. Slide your hand into any exposed joint. Let yourself be impaled within. The ink will call these words to mind. He growls strange syllables. Your blood carries the overload mechanism. Your blood carries the overload mechanism now. It transfers energy via the torvus mechanism. I could deactivate waits for prey now, can I? Okay. Gain? Okay. Nothing else? Again about the construct? Okay. Again about your work? Okay. Farewell. Thank you, Ioxu.
Ready.
Walk away. So we cannot deactivate that now because we have completed the quest. Hello? Okay. Walk away.
Look out below!
Above! Sideways!
Sideways!
Okay. Let's go to the Chiurgeon Slump.
I'm ready.
What's it called?
I'm always ready.
Chiurgeon Slump. Yeah. Let's go there now.
Doing it now.
Maybe there's someone who can help Eritus.
Yes.
Now. Game saved. Mercenary. Hope you're here for treatment. All Chiurgeons are running out of protection money. A pair of bored-looking soldiers in filthy uniforms bar your way. Blue and silver markings are still visible under the grime, but only just. Their weapons, on the other hand, are clean, well-maintained, and appear to have seen serious use. The guards glance at each other for the barest fraction of a second, and then, hiding a smirk, the first one says, "Welcome to Chiurgeon Slump, under the protection of Artaglio's irregulars. Here to see one of our fine medical professionals. It'll only cost you He breaks off suddenly. No fee, I beg your pardon. Why aren't you charging me any shins? His eyes are fixed on your tattoo. I'm sorry, you'll have to speak to our Captain Artaglio. He and his companion turn away, pointedly avoiding your gaze. Hey! This area is... Yeah, I know, okay. Okay.
Coming.
Oh, that's a maw. I can... Got the more snouts and tongue slips? I'm holding a jar of... Okay. Okay. Lots of stuff in here. Jar of lace-bone unguent. Oh, I have no idea what she's talking about. This is a simple military tent made to be raised and broken down quickly. That one as well. And this one too. The size and condition of this tent leave no room for doubt that it belongs to the person in charge around here. Okay. Let's do a hard save. Chiurgeon Slump. That's what I wanted to call it. Yep. Return to game. Mercenary. I'm in duty. Doesn't you always talk to strangers? Grab a cup, stranger, if you can handle your alcohol, that is. Renard. You have business with Artaglio Sigreglios, you talk to Artaglio.
Of course.
The features of this once handsome man are sunken and splotchy. The face of Artaglio? Maybe there's Orvine. But no, he's supposed to be in Little Nilyash. The features of this once handsome man are sunken and splotchy. The face of anxiety and drink, evidenced by the flagon in his hand. The veins of his nose have broken, giving it a rosy appearance. Any cheer that might have lived in his face is destroyed by the frequent nervous glances over his shoulders. Following his gaze, you see a knotted mass of bloom flesh, surrounded by waving tendrils some distance away. He looks you over, his eyes lingering on your cast of tattoo. He takes a slow, deliberate drink. Come looking for soldiers, have you? You found us. Want a kingdom overthrown, a tomb robbed, a caravan guarded? You've got the shins, then you've still come to the wrong place. Okay, I was confused, but it seems like he's telling the truth. Artaglio's irregulars are not ready to serve. Go hang. Then he reconsiders. Fine. What do you want? What's this place? Chiurgeon Slump, the homiest place in all the bloom. We've got the good doctors, Numenera and Obervich here, and if you're sick, they'll see you right. As long as your illness is interesting enough. Need something alchemical? See Sheen. Our job is making sure no one gets too friendly with their shins but us. Anyone who wants to make a home here? He pauses as he looks at your tattoo. Almost anyone who wants to make a home here is welcome, then can pay the price. Some people might call this a protection racket. He takes another swig and glances sidelong again at the knotted mass of bloom flesh. Not in my hearing, though. Not unless they want to make use of one of the leeches themselves. The Mariner's patrols around here? They stopped by to collect their duties a while ago. Then, can't remember when exactly. I think they were headed for the old slave block next. That's where the Murdens lived. He lifts his mug in a mock salute. Best of luck to them. Where's your standard? He grimaces, his face showing his age as he does. A tattered old rag, to be sure, but the troops seem strangely attached to it. Must come from marching under its flutters and seeing so many of their friends dying under it. The strange things to a person's mind. He drinks again, his gaze shifts nervously to the maw again. Some thieving Murden stole in here the other night, raiding us for food, weapons and shins. They didn't get away with much, but they managed to swipe our standard. I think it was a personal insult. Murdens! We ought to go over and buy it back. Buy it with blood, I mean. Their blood! The Murdens, I mean! What are we waiting for? This damsel in need! He stops at Artaglio's glare. This gentleman in need requires our help! Why would they be insulting you? Jealousy? Because we've beaten them back before? Because we have more stuff than they do? Figuring out how arguments think is a fool's errand. It's better to go with your instinct when dealing with them. That's what they know. Whatever the reason, well, they've got it now, and sometime I should get it back, but... again? Why don't you get back yourself? It's not worth the bother. We raid them, they raid us. I'll get to it eventually. The irregulars might grumble, but we'll find it soon enough. He swallows another drink, but not before you see a brief shadow of fear scattering itself across his face. Why don't you get it yourself again? Eventually. Why don't you send some of your troops to get it back for you? For some reason they seem to think that it's my duty. They want me to do it personally. I'll get to it. Eventually. He takes a hefty swig from his flagon and his eyes dart to the maw again. Again? Ask about something else. Well, you're a soldier. Tell me about that. Oh, didn't I introduce myself? How rude. He swigs again and then makes a mock bow. Artaglio, condottiere at your service. Veteran of countless battles, mercenary, not currently for hire. Artaglio. Artaglio, how do I know that name? Oh yes, I remember. You fought for the Changing God down at the Flame Torrent. Serving under the Chalcedon, wasn't it? Yes, that's right. Brave little band, as I recall, though wasn't there some scandal? Artaglio looks closely at your companion. Tibur. What a... Halloin, Bamsabine, howdy! Delight. To see you again. Here to collect the bounty on us, then? A bounty? How much he catches himself as he sees Artaglio's face harden. No need to worry. Not my line at all anymore. These days I'm an advisor to my employer here, but his eyes light up, eager for gossip. But tell me, what was it you did to warrant your price? Did you turn on the Chalcedon? Make off with the pay wagon? Romans someone you shouldn't have? Ach ja, Englisch. Ja, richtig, Bamsebine. Sorry. Morgen ab 19:30 Uhr ist wieder deutsche Time. Dann spielen wir Resident Evil 7 End of Zoe DLC. Was geht los? Ansonsten, ja, bye bye. Tut mir leid, Bamsebine, dass ich nicht mehr Unterhaltung bieten kann. Aber schön, dass du immerhin kurz hier warst. Adios. Nothing so dramatic. We took our objective and then we deserted. Simple as that. He turns to look at you. And you're telling me you're not here to collect on that? Just a cast-off passing through, eh? No connection to the Chalcedon? Why would we lie when we could get money out of him? Or just tell him that we don't care about that. What would happen if we lied to him? I mean, they are shaking the others up. So yeah, I'd accept payment. Pay you. If he wants me, he can come himself. He takes a swig. Here's a better deal. Have some rum. He waves a hand, dismissing you. Tell me again about soldiering. What's a condottiere? A professional warlord, a venture captain, a mercenary leader, these days protector for the good leeches of the slump. Why aren't you for hire? He peers into your face. I'd have thought you were here for the bounty. Didn't the Chalcedon send you? He looks back to you. We deserted from the endless battle. We fought for the first militia on occasion, but for the Changing God's army most times. Until we were given a near impossible task. I don't care. Just answer my questions. Anything else about here? No. Okay. What's that you're drinking? This is Astarian rum, one of the finest and deadliest concoctions I've found in my travels across this land. It's like being smothered in a blanket of soft fur and drowned in love. I can strip the gloss off just about any material you care to name too. It. Okay. Ouchie. Most people can't drink one mug, let alone two. Even these brave soldiers find it hard going, but you... I challenge you to match me, and I'll match you. Put that vaunted cast-off constitution to the test. You think you can outdrink me? I doubt it. Later, maybe. I have other questions. Why do you keep looking over at that knot of bloom flesh? The more... No reason. I just don't like the way the damn thing looks. I don't like the way it sounds. He takes another drink. You don't hear that whispering, chittering noise that sounds like primal hunger? He looks suspiciously at his flagon. It wants to eat me. I know it wants to eat me. Worry that it might be sneaking up on me, or that I might accidentally be slipping back toward it. You don't fight in as many battles as I have without recognizing a potential death wish in your own heart. How would you recognize a death wish? It's in the darkness. He peers gloomily around the slump. In your marrow. You can feel your muscles, your soul, rebelling against your own desires, and when you turn around, you find your desires have changed. Then he looks at you again and seems to realize who he's talking to. Tabat, tell me, why am I opening my heart to a cast off? Get out of here! He turns his back to you. Let's talk about the maw again. I'd rather not, he shivers. He looks over his shoulder again as if afraid that it has crept closer. Alright, fine. What did you want to talk about? Why does the maw want to eat you? I have no idea. It's hungry for bravery, I think. But I tell you frankly, the idea of bravery around this thing unmans me. I haven't got anything for it to eat. What will happen if the maw eats you? It'll take what it wants of me, then it'll open a portal to somewhere. Same thing that always happens when a maw feeds. Okay, I think we will get back to him and talk about him and his maw again, but farewell. I could have told him that he should lead his troops into battle, but I don't... We had this chance once, but not anymore. There's one option we had. Before I told him or asked him something about the maw. But before we haven't found the standard, before we haven't found the standard, I don't think we should kill the one who gave the quest. Renard. Okay.
Of course.
Several tumorous blobs, they appear to be slowly ingesting each other. Okay. Hey, Jont. The skin of this broad-shouldered man looks blotchy. Like the one... They all look blotchy, I think. Even patchwork. It slumps from his frame as if he had lost a great deal of weight. He bobs his bald head in greeting as you approach, and his neck moves like it's broken. Yet he seems to be in no pain, and his movements are quick and assured. His voice is sonorous but fluting, with a strange bust that grates on your nerves. Greetings, Sojourner. You stand with the Jont. You can't help but notice that his gaze continues to steal over toward the band of soldiers gathered around the cask. The muscles of his face twitch and bob as he does so. Tell me about yourself. I have the pleasure of being Jont. I believe it is a pleasure. I do not have a memory any longer, and so I know not how the future remembers me. The burden of knowledge is gone. Again? What happened to your skin? He gestures in the direction of the soldiers. Do you see that maw beyond them? The tongues there, they once seek me out, and I, bedazzled by them, give myself to their taste. He shrugs, sending a ripple through his loose-fitting skin. I awake sometime later. Agony is my lot. The maw has stripped my skin and stolen my muscles. It has eaten my memories. I do not recall who I am before, or where I come from, or even my own appearance. All I know is pain. If the good Chiurgeons, Demaray and Obervich are not watching, I am dead. They give me new muscles, they make themselves, they grow me new skin made from dead men and sew it on. They cannot match old frame perfectly, but they tell me I am fascinating case, not human. He pulled at some of the loose skin, oblivious to how painful it seems. No longer a visitant, yes, now a resident. But they cannot save my memory. The bloom is sated on me, my thoughts and dreams and other things caught up in its fabric. I am content. What about the soldiers? Angry men, always drinking, always armed, best to approach with caution, smile, hands open. He opens his mouth and then snaps it shut. But to speak nothing is my policy. Why do you keep looking at the group of men? The sound like a saw on steel. I know that maw, I know its desire, and look, its meal sits nearby, quaffing poison all day, as if the toxins numb the knowledge of the maw's desire. Even that, his voice drops to a whisper. Even that drunken fool knows that it calls to him. His voice returns to its normal grating register. It's a good day when it happens. What about Demaray and Obervich? They work miracles, those two, if you are of interest to them. If you are of interest to them, they bring fearsome knowledge to understand you. Tell me more about the soldiers, I may be able to help you. He looks carefully at the soldiers, probably to be certain they aren't listening. Perhaps your interest peaks when I tell you that Murdens from old slave block raid this place some days ago. They steal the soldiers' standard, their flag of battle. But I see you nod already. You know about the standard, and you know that if someone brings it to him, someone asks a favor of Artaglio. Someone makes a slave of the man for one request. Artaglio cannot refuse, not for the return of his standard. He nods, satisfied. Okay, so if I bring it to him, I can make with him, do with him as I want. Okay, farewell, Jont. You would be well, Sojourner. Okay. What's
Done.
in that? What's in the box? The cask from which Artaglio fills his flagon is made from staves of dark wood. Synth steel bands hold the barrel staves tight, and you can see the dents in the synth steel where some sort of ornamentation has fallen off. Inside, dark spiced alcohol sloshes. Slosh.
Look out below!
Okay, Apothecary. What about you?
Sideways.
This lumpish woman has been ill-used by the years. Her clothes are tattered and grey as if the life has been drained from them. Her face is scabrous. When she opens her mouth to speak, her fetid breath is nearly overwhelming. She eyes you skeptically and says, "What do you want?" I'd like to ask some questions. I wager you would. Here's my question first. What's a fancy looker like you doing down here? Slumming? Seeing how the unfortunates live? You don't belong and you ain't welcome. She turns away from you and begins to hawk her wares again. She doesn't want to have anything to do with us. Okay, I can change that. I think this happened in my first playthrough too. That's why I am loading again. Because I want to see what the other option is. Okay, so I have talked to him.
Happy to help.
And there's nothing about alcohol. So, okay, Apothecary. This metal card is heavily armored. Its surface has been damaged by countless blades and projectiles. Apothecary. Anything that might be helpful for me? A scornful laugh is sharp and abrasive. Ha! Pass on, stranger. My simple cures will do no good for your mighty highness. She turns away from you and begins to hawk her wares again. Okay, let's... I don't know. Let's not talk to her. Maybe later we can... say something to her that will make her open up to us.
Yes.
This table is covered with strange instruments and controls. 3 sturdy metal levers jut from a mechanism affixed to the floor. Etched along their bases are a series of symbols marking each position which levers can be set.
Action!
And that
Here
one?
I come!
This mysterious device spews out brightly colored cubic bubbles, the result of a chemical process you can't begin to fathom. Bubbles! Cubic bubbles. Ah, now I understand. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay, then. Quick save. You are Sheen. Let's talk to Sheen. First name Charlie. Aha! No. When she turns, you realize that the thing you had mistaken for a bundle of sticks and twine is a woman. An impossibly thin woman. Her face all angles and lines, her arms summer twigs. Her clothes drape across her like sailcloth, and though her face is young, her eyes are old, old, old. Her hands are pitted and scarred from alchemical processes, the apparatus for which stands in dizzying profusion behind her. She does not meet your gaze as she greets you, but her eyes rove across your body, watching and weighing. Traveler, the shop of Sheen lies open before you. Essences distilled, drafts for quaffing, experiences delivered a mouthful at a time. Her voice is flat, though an undercurrent in her voice sings at a register you cannot hear. Experiences delivered? That which we eat, that which we drink. This is not the only nourishment in our lives. Without joy, without peace, without happiness or courage, existence itself becomes empty. These states I recreate, and into dull lives restore art of glory. She looks proud for a moment. Clients come to me from across the protectorate. They desire to open themselves to new sensation, though perhaps unpleasant. Why, I ask not. Unpleasant horizons into the depths of human experience. Some seek solace in pain, or domination, or unusual abilities, where the traveler to present a gift of a unique experience, a transfusion of energy to Sheen. Arrangements might be made. I have many unique experiences, yes. Tell me about yourself. The expression drains from her face. From the clock of Kala I hail. Superiority made flesh. The city of Sada Emidu, the house above the Indigel, saw my birthright, to explore, to delve, to understand. Yet the zealotine is wisdom with its implants told my family that my researches endangered me, reduced me from an augur to a mere human. Her voice has risen to a shout. Oh, and she collects herself. She continues more calmly. Rather than suffer legal exile, to this place I came. The bloom sought a piece of my mind, and so I took a piece of its. And from that connection comes the ability to draw essences. Clients seek me now, seek my knowledge, care not whether my modifications endanger me. Bliss. The angry cast of her eyes suggests that these memories are anything but. She turns and spits into a bottle near her strange apparatus. Let's see what you have for sale. Ooh. Ah, okay, these are ciphers. Okay, as these are many ciphers. No artifacts or anything? No, okay. I will not read it aloud, everything, because my voice is starting to go away, to leave me, I will just read it quietly with you and your own blah blah blah. Sorry. Oh! Hi! Captain Greenbear. Wie ich gerade gesagt habe, es geht ja nur noch 10 Minuten. Ich habe so lange und so viel gelesen. Ich lese jetzt nicht mehr laut, sondern einfach nur noch ein paar Items im Stillen. Also ich weiß jetzt nicht, ob die letzte Zeit auch noch so interessant und unterhaltsam für dich ist. Tut mir leid. Siehst du? Siehst du? Genau. Die Stimme lässt langsam nach. Und mein Kopf. Und die Sonne nervt mich auch schon wieder. Zack, zack, zack. Okay. For the last 10 minutes. Element of quickness. We don't have that many shins, only 1100. So, and one of them costs about 400 or 500 shins, so almost 700. We won't buy any of them. These descriptions are pretty cool. Pretty cool. That's why I'm reading them. Spooky stuff. Spooky stuff. Ah, permanent. Okay, permanent ciphers we will buy. You can carry them. First reading, then using. Effect is merely temporary? I trust this description here at the top. Buy that. Yeah. Active 3 sleeps. Wow. That's a long time. Maybe even almost the rest of the game. No. Might be something for our friend Eratus, but not really. Or maybe? Let's see what speed and might, speed and intellect Eratus has. I only need him for might. All his actions use might to might. He's a mighty fella. The other ones. Ooh! Level up! Yeah, why not? Save the game. And level up. Skill maybe. Yeah, initiative would be good. Who has mystical law? You, right? Yeah, you have mystical law, so I won't learn that here. Yeah, give him initiative. It's really bad in fights that we are the last one in every round. Yep.
I've learned something new.
You. And a girl, yeah, extra effort, why not?
Learn some new tricks.
Learn some new tricks. Free level in the concentration skill. That's good. Again from living to twos and as well and choice of class they can heal and protect all the triple damage to enemies. Yeah, cool to twos. 2 points, 2 abilities to learn. Ah, not for him. Energize. Yeah, not that good, really. And I have the tattoos, and I think there's some overlap there. This, on the other hand, just it reads very cool. Mind control. Yeah, I think that's more something for our main character, not for Elegant. But we're not a nano, so we cannot choose it for our main character. 3 rounds. I have 2 points. Drink to the dregs. Max effort 1, focus effort precision. No. Balefire and mind control. That's the one. Oh, that's the 2. Confirm. I should give him more intellect, I think. Especially now. Okie dokie. Sheen, I haven't looked at all your ciphers. Maybe something for... why should we give it to Eratus? It's not really... +2 in a speed in a stat pool isn't that much. Sarek. Sarek? Deep Space 9 Sarek? Ah, no, these Sareks. Yeah, there are Sareks in Numenera as well. Essence of Bravery. Okay, this sounds like the stuff that is inside of Eritis. So no, let's close it and use this one cipher I had about concentration, right? No, choose a lore skill. Permanent run training. This damage, this damage, this damage, this damage. Makes characters, well, necromancy, basically. Range medium. I think I want Tiber to do this dead body thing. And yeah, this is gravity bomb for him. Find a gun. Okay, so let's now use this lore skill cipher. Of course, we will save, just to be sure. Use item. Okay, which one do I want to have? Machinery, mystical, natural. Even more natural lore? I don't think we need that much more. Then mystical maybe, because for mechanical or machinery, I have Elegant. I'll give it to Tibia. Give him this last mystical point. Yeah. Maybe I don't need to use all of the ciphers myself. Yep. Tibia. You become what? Mystical? Natural? You become more mystical. Booyah! Yeah! Nice.
What do you need?
Forward. Onward.
Okay. I think that's a good time to stop the stream. Stop the stream! Let's save. And next time, I can tell you... Yes, let's... I'll just quick save. We will get closer to Elegant's big quest, because Orth Fong is here and we are looking for him. And I've never done that, because I've never played with Elegant up until now, in my first playthrough. So I'm excited what will happen then. And also we will sell Sheen some of our experiences, but like I said, this will be the next stream. Next Tuesday from 17 to 19:30 on the clock. Yeah. We've gone through quite a lot of mares today, and that's entertaining too. I'm a little tired after playing Torment and reading all of it, which I want to do because I like doing that, but which is also, I have the feeling that the oxygen doesn't really reach my brain anymore when I'm talking all the time. So goodbye, have a nice day, thank you for watching. Bye bye Captain Green Bear, bye bye Anulum, and bye bye, ja, Bamsebine ist ja schon, bye bye.
This place wants to nibble.
And that was funny. And bye bye Heldrick. And all the other ones who have been watching. Tschüssikowski.